Guys, Renner, Mikey, and Steve here from F2MX, here for another episode of Sidelines to Stocklines. We know it's been a minute since we put out an episode. We actually recorded one last Friday after Mikey and I got back from a conference, the Fantasy Sport Gaming Association conference in Philadelphia. Awesome conference. We'll maybe talk more about that at some point. We got a few things we want to go over. But anyways, we recorded it last Friday. And then we found out that our SD card got corrupted, so that really sucks. But here we are, we're chugging along. Let's start with some rumors, boys. Brandon Ayuk, it is, the 16th? And still no, news on where this man's going to sign. We thought for a while he was going to go to the Commanders, especially considering that, he was saying, I'm going to be a Commander pretty much, F the 49ers, right? Some bold stuff on the Instagram. I thought it was entertaining, but it was bold for sure. Kind of got a little shut down by Jane Daniels, right? He was kind of like, chill, bro. You're chill out here. And then he just kind of switched up on Jane Daniels.
Yeah, Jane Daniels, I think if they're, with the possibility of him going to the Commanders, didn't want that coming along with Ayuk and causing issues or commotion, you know what I mean? And fans getting all fired up.
Yeah, and, it's if he went to the Commanders, me personally, at the current state of the NFC East, I'm thinking the Cowboys got that division. But at the same time, I was leaning Cowboys, but now I'm kind of in limbo with it because I noticed this trend, right? Dak on even years is hot ass. Either injury or just the team's not very good for one reason or another. Hot ass. I think most of the time it's injuries,
Yeah. He's got some
odd years, he's awesome. Honestly, if the Cowboys had even somewhat of a defense last year, I think they would have won the division, at least gotten a wild card, appearance. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, as we've seen in the playoffs, probably not going to win a game, but they would have. I think they would have made the playoffs.
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
absolutely.
And George Pickens.
Yeah, and CD Lamb. You got
two awesome receiver core. Yeah,
two solid guys. I mean, studs in that wide receiver. I mean, he has talent to do something.
Oh, yeah.
Cowboys have.
But you know what? I also, and sorry to cut you off, but I just realized this too. So I think part of the problem before was, his backup was Cooper Rush, and Cooper Rush, he's a backup, right? I wouldn't want Cooper Rush as the starter for my team by any means. Maybe a spot start, once or twice in a season.
Right.
My QB1 is down, but there's no Cooper Rush anymore. There's a guy there that I would love to have as a quarterback for the Dolphins. Bazooka Joe, baby. Does anybody remember that Week 18 game in 2024, when he was just popping off for the Patriots? Guy's awesome. So I feel like even if Dak goes down this year, Cowboys could still be pretty awesome. But if Brandon Ayuk goes to the Commanders, I feel like they could be dangerous in that division.
Yeah, and it would be upsetting to see him not go anywhere or his mouth get him in trouble. You see these other people that just run their mouth and it doesn't work out too well for him. Because, he is a great wide receiver.
Oh, yeah.
Consecutive 1,000-yard seasons, and he's solid. Bigger dude, too.
Yeah.
I like watching him play.
I mean, that year he had when the Niners went to the Super Bowl, he was awesome. He had 1,400 yards. I think 12 or 13 touchdowns on the year, maybe more. But, yeah, he was solid.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. He was a guy. So that could be a huge game changer. How that affects Terry McLaurin, I think it's a great 1-2 combo. You're looking at another Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, CD Lamb, George Pickens, right? I think that's what you're looking at, right? So, yeah, Puka Devontae. I don't know how I can forget that one.
That's one of my favorites.
I know, that one is elite. That one is incredible. Oh, little sidetrack. So I actually saw this. I guess the Rams are releasing new alternate jerseys for uniforms this year. They're going back to the highlighter yellow, and I'm like, not a look. Not a fan of that look. It's kind of nostalgic because, like, when I think of that, I think of Todd Gurley.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. But
And at the same time, I mean, like we talked about before, very briefly, the Rams are a team that are crazy good.
dude, the Aaron Donald rumors are going crazy.
I think with adding Myles Garrett and who they're already elite offense, and I'll get into that later because I got my bold predictions earlier.
Oh yeah, we still got that. Honestly, guys, we have on our little agenda here free agent signings, but we are literally in the dead of July, so there isn't shit happening for free agent signings. So we're just gonna glance right over that. But we can still talk about some injuries, some notable guys. Even a few weeks ago, it looks like Rashee Rice, who there was some questions about. As long as he doesn't land himself in jail again, looks like he's going to be a week 1 starter. That's obviously good. And, sticking with the Chiefs, I think we've seen nothing but good news on Mahomes and his recovery.
His plan is to get back week 1.
Yeah.
He's
so
on track. So.
I think it's good that they signed Justin Fields as like a reliable backup because we've seen Justin Fields when he's got when he's on an actually competent team, he can keep the ship afloat for a little bit. He was like 4-2 with the Steelers or something like that.
Being a Steelers fan, I actually liked him because he was a little more mobile than who we've had and have currently.
Yeah.
So I've always wanted for the Steelers a mobile quarterback that can get out and he can tuck the ball and run. And Aaron Rodgers, and boy, can't get up. He doesn't got speed and he's getting a little old, so he's got to be careful with that.
Yeah. And when you have a mobile quarterback, it's just different, right? Like you have a different flow to your offense. Like when he was with the Bears. He was rushing the ball a lot, pushing the ball down the field.
Mm-hmm. He had 1,100 rushing yards that one season, like something absurd.
So like his upside is still there, and he's a viable backup for Mahomes. Like if Mahomes goes down, you know what I mean. That Chiefs offense, it's going to be different, but it's still going to be a high flying, fast paced offense.
Yeah, and with him too, everyone has their doubts of him, and he's had some down years. But like going to the Chiefs, he doesn't really have. If he does get in there and play, if Mahomes is out and gets injured again, he's kind of in a position where it's like make or break it. He doesn't have an excuse of not having wide receivers, running back, or whatever. He's got a perfect setup here, and he steps in there if Mahomes goes down. This will prove his talent.
Yeah. I mean, he's got two different routes here. Is he going to be, like a Marcus Mariota? Because I don't think he's ever going to be a starter ever again. I think that's just out of the picture, right? We've seen it. He's just not a starting quarterback, right? But that doesn't mean that he can't have a 10, 15-year career as like a backup that any team would want if you need some spot starts for an injured quarterback or you just don't want to risk anything with him.
He's got to prove that he's a reliable backup.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, good news coming out of the Chiefs as far as their injuries go. Team with some not so good news, the Giants. I mean, we are still not really getting any promising signs about Malik Neighbors coming back. I think last I heard, he's expected to come back like week 4, maybe.
Yeah.
And I mean, they still got a few guys. I mean, I think Cam Scattergood's going to have a really good year.
And he's a dog, too.
He's a dog. I mean, his career is probably going to be about 4 or 5 years max.
But the way he plays, it's probably going to be a damn good 4 or 5 years.
Oh yeah, I mean he's just gonna run through a wall for a few years and then he's gonna have to hang it up because his brain's just gonna be scrambled eggs. But it's gonna be awesome to watch, and I know that I'm gonna be watching as many Giants games as I can just to see my boy Scat. Obviously, Likely, that's a great addition. I think Likely for those first few weeks that Neighbors isn't there.
I think he's going to see a lot of volume.
And like we talked about, like he's a big body, so like he's going to play in the slot too. Like he's not going to be. They have Theo Johnson, who's a solid tight end that can down block. Now they're going to throw Likely in the slot, big body, and then he's going to get that volume because they lost Wan'Dale Robinson, and without Neighbors, there's a ton of empty targets in New York. So. I mean, and for a young quarterback, Jackson Dart proved himself that he can ball last year. Jackson Dart's a dog, but he's still going to be looking for somebody to check that ball down to. And Isaiah Likely is
perfect. He's the perfect
guy.
Yes.
I really want to be on the Jackson Dart train because I was on the Dart train, like him coming out of Ole Miss. He had that awesome pro day where he threw that absolute bomb. It was one of the most beautiful balls, but we know how that goes. We saw Zach Wilson throw a beautiful bomb, and I mean, he's 2 packs of ass, right? So I really want to be on the Dart train, and he had some awesome games last year, right? But I just kind of worry that he's one of those guys that, like, they're going to catch on to how he plays quick, and I don't know if he can adjust for that.
Yeah.
You know, and like we talked about with, like, I just want to touch on this real quick with backups, like, right? Like, I think the best backup in the league is Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones, we talked about him at tight end U. He was slinging that thing, looking a little different, you know, getting a little groovy with it. But
he's just living life, man. He's having a great time.
But also heard that Mac Jones was the MVP of Cabo. So he went to Cabo and was having a great time slinging ice shots and getting funky with it. But, you know, Mac Jones is a fun person. I root for Mac Jones. So I think if something were to happen to Purdy, Mac Jones could go in and play some pretty damn good football.
Yeah. It's really interesting that, like, some of these guys, you know, they get drafted high because, like, the one that I always think of, and I don't know why, is Marcus Mariota, right?
He played at Oregon. I was a huge Oregon fan. I loved watching him play, and he played solid there too.
Yeah.
So him coming in, it kind of upset.
Yeah, not really a great starter, right? But a solid backup, right? Like, you know, all right, you can't rely on him like last year when Jane Daniels only played, what, like 6 games, something like that. Okay, you can't rely on him to, you know, will the team to the playoffs and get a good record and all that. But, you know, the year prior, Jane Daniels was out for like two different weeks, not consecutive weeks. And I remember Mariota, like, holding it up.
Yep.
You know, he was doing pretty good.
And that's the thing, you know, bringing it back to F2MX a little bit, those are people you want to look for, because in those times their prices are going to be low, then their price can spike. That's kind of what we want, and really when you're playing the game, that's what it's all about. It's all about finding that next sleeper and getting the value that you want.
Yeah, I mean that's huge. Like, I can't tell you how many times, like, I've had because, you know, I, being a Dolphins fan, basically being a sucker, right? I've had Tua on my roster many a times, and, you know, actually, you know, various years it's worked out pretty well. You know, 2022 he had some awesome games. Fortunately, got injured. 2023 he was awesome. 24 he got injured, but he still had some awesome games, right? But, like, you know, he'd always get injured at the start of games, and then I'm just like, okay, I need the rest of my team to pull through on it. You know, thankfully in my main league with a you know, $50 buy-in, I went 13-1 and won the whole thing that year. So my roster was just kind of goated. But, you know, having a great backup that, you know, on F2MX, you know, your starting quarterback goes down and, you know, okay, the backup is solid. He can keep going. He's not just going to be a game manager and hand the ball off to the running back. He's going to make some plays himself. I mean, that's huge. Because like Mikey said, you could be buying into them at a super low price if you act quick enough, right? It's all about being proactive and not reactive.
And I've had that same problem with someone we just talked about, Malik Neighbors.
Yeah.
I had him on my roster, super stoked, was pumped about him, and I was looking good. And when he got injured, I was like, you know, I don't have really the other players I rely on. I can't really trade away.
Yeah.
And of course, everyone else in my league doesn't want to accept trades. People don't like to trade.
People hate trading.
No, but it's nice because with F2MX, I can just go out and swap them out with someone new and focus on that.
Yeah,
I don't have that worry.
Yeah, I mean, if you could have traded out of Malik Neighbors and gone into Wan'Dale Robinson, because I mean, he was low key cooking last season.
Yeah,
whenever Neighbors went out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's honestly a little bit of a side tangent, but I wouldn't say I'm high on him, but I'm kind of optimistic for the Titans. Like, maybe not this year, but like in the future, right? Because like, I think having Wan'Dale as a number 2, that's solid. Like, good number 2 to have. Yeah, he's not T. Higgins. Yeah. He's not George Pickens. He's not Jordan Addison. He's not Devontae Adams. But like, he's, you know, maybe 2 rungs under, which may be a wild statement. But we're talking like a wide receiver 2. Like, teams would be lucky to have him on the roster. And then Carnell Tate, I mean, I don't see him as being like an alpha receiver, but I see him being just solid, reliable guy.
Yeah, reliable.
So, I mean, they can easily, they're probably going to be playing from behind most of the season.
I would assume.
Yeah. So, those guys can rack up some yards, I would think. And if they're racking up yards, Cam Ward's racking up some passing yards. So, I guess really, if Mikey came up to me and said buy or sell Titans wide receivers or Cam Ward, I'm saying buy. But if he says buy or sell any Titans running back, I'm selling instantly.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We're on the same page here.
Like looking at hidden values, right, with injuries, like you always got to look at the running back position as well, because that's such a position that injuries happen. So like, even with a guy that we're high on, like Scatterboot, right, you still got to look at Tyrone Tracy.
Oh yeah,
like Tyrone Tracy is a serviceable pass catching back. Same thing with any San Francisco 49er running back. Because trust me, Christian McCaffrey could have a stellar year and go for 400 points in fantasy. Or he can get 0 points, and now you're looking at any running back on San Francisco. So, that could be back by committee, or it could be CMC. Same thing we talked about with Kyron Williams. Like, that's a good backfield that has 2 solid running backs. Blake Corum is a solid running back. We got to be able to watch Blake Corum's value. He might be low at the beginning of the season. 1 week, something happens. You're shooting up and you're buying Blake Corum right now.
Right, I saw a video of him. I don't know if you guys saw it.
Working out?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Wow.
I know.
His coordination and everything he's got going on. If you guys haven't seen it, look it up.
It's crazy
training
stuff.
video. I mean, dude's an animal.
Yeah. But I mean, it kind of makes sense because he's not one of those running back twos where it's like, okay, I may be in on passing downs, or I may get the majority of my time on special teams. No, he knows that he's going to get a nice share of the snap count, right? So,
and he's someone he's someone that I would keep an eye on for sure.
Oh yes,
absolutely.
Yes. All right. Any other injury news? Actually, I have one just because I haven't heard anything about him in a minute. Micah Parsons. Have we heard?
What I have no idea.
Last night, I thought he was coming back around the same time as Malik Neighbors, but then I also heard that it may be until like November. Which it makes sense for his position with the way that as a defensive end, you just got to be able to bend the O-line, right? Yeah. It's not like quarterback where Patrick can be like, okay, can I just, as long as my line holds up, can I just, get the ball off? Yeah, the Chiefs games may be a little boring if he's the week 1 starter for the first few weeks because they want to take it a little easy on him. But, Micah doesn't have that luxury.
Yeah.
So.
It says mid-October.
Yeah, and
he's targeting mid-October, so.
The other big injury, who has looked good is George Kittle. George Kittle coming off an injury.
Yeah.
But I saw some videos. He was at tight end U. He was catching some routes. He was looking healthy. So I think George Kittle is, I think he'll be all right this season, and he'll be ready for week 1.
I've had George Kittle on my fantasy teams before, and it's like he either does like really good and blows up, or like he doesn't really do much for you. He's one of those guys that's like, you want to have faith in him and you put him in there. And like some weeks he does, and he is good. He is good. His weeks, when he actually does something, but a lot of blocking.
Yeah,
the guy. A lot of his plays, it seems like he's just out there blocking. But he's another one of those guys. He's a good guy to have on your team. He's fun.
Yeah,
fun.
He's the people's
good
type.
vibes.
He's
good vibes, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on to training camp. Like we said today, July 17th or 16th. It's 16th, right? Yeah. Getting my days mixed up here. We do know that the Jags announced scheduled practices with all their preseason opponents, so the Saints, the Panthers, and the Bucks. And Broncos don't have any joint practices scheduled.
No, and I feel in my mind that's hurtful. I think that's only going to hurt them.
Yeah.
They might be focusing on the team aspect of things and practicing, working with, connections, quarterback, wide receiver, whatever. But also, like, you need to get in with those other teams,
right?
Preseason even.
Especially in the position they're in, they've got a bunch of new weapons. Like that running back role in Denver is questionable. Whether it's going to be R.J. Harvey, whoever is going to be that lead back. And with a new wide receiver and Jalen Waddle going to Denver, you got to get that chemistry one-on-one with someone outside of your own team.
Yeah.
With Bo Nix. So I think that, like you said, I think that's a very risky thing. But you got to think with the receivers, they're going to go up against PS2 every week, which is a good matchup. But you really want to see as a fantasy owner and as a as a football nerd myself, I want to see them play against someone else just to be able to compete, because you want to be able to compete. You don't want to be fighting with your teammates.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know how to feel about the Broncos this year. I mean, on one hand, it's like, okay, if any team's going to do it, it's like, okay, Sean Payton, he's got a world's worth of experience, so it's not like it's a first-time head coach or a relatively young head coach. Like, no, it's Sean Payton. He's got plenty of experience. But yeah, it is kind of not a Broncos fan, but it is kind of concerning to see that they are not doing any joint practices.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get into some storylines this year. We'll probably end up splitting this. A few questions for this episode, a few questions for next episode. We'll each answer, what do we got here? 5 different questions. First one, which quarterback has the most pressure? Mikey, or Steve, yeah, start us off.
I think Bryce Young. Reason being,
It's a good one.
at the end of 2027, rookie contract's up.
Yeah.
They've beefed up the O-line. He's been, he's not been performing well. So he's fighting for a franchise tag.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of pressure on him coming into this season and next. So these next 2 years for him are crucial on if he gets a deal or not, or franchise tag, whatever. That's my most pressure.
Yeah, I would agree. Bryce, I can't figure him out because, some games he looks awesome. I mean, it's like he goes up against the Rams last year, one of the best teams in the league. I'd say the second best team in the league last year. Obviously, Seattle would be number one. He goes up against the Rams and he puts on 2 clinics. And then he goes up against, like, the Patriots, and Dolphins fan here, so a bit of a Patriots hater, but it's like, okay, you can't put up that performance against the Rams and then get absolutely stomped by the Patriots. Like, that makes no sense to me. Right? So it's like, I would agree. I think he really needs to iron out the consistency. He brought up the O-line upgrades. Honestly, I think the defense this year is going to be low-key pretty nasty. I mean, they made some great additions.
Right.
Devin Lloyd, stud linebacker, and Jalen Phillips. I mean, I've seen a lot of Jalen Phillips, and when he's on the field,
He's good.
He's awesome. He's awesome. So they keep the defense healthy, and not to mention, they've upgraded the receiver core. I mean, this isn't 2023 where the receivers are a bunch of no-name guys, right? Ted McMillan, stud.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Brazzell being added, I'm high on that. Jalen Coker, I mean, he was turning it up last season.
Yeah.
So the pieces are there. He just has to go out, be more consistent. It's a great pick.
Yeah. I think mine's going to be Lamb Jack. I think Lamar Jackson has a lot of pressure this year. Right?
Yeah.
Because he's playing for Baltimore, but he's also playing to stay in Baltimore, right? Like, I think if he has a bad year, he looks to test the water somewhere else. He hasn't been able to get through in those big games, and that's a meat grinder of a division. I mean, you got the Browns, right? But like, every defense is
Even
tough.
the Browns put up a fight,
yeah,
right?
the Browns defense
Right.
is tough.
Less tough.
The Bengals beefed their defense up a little bit, and the Steelers, they're the Steelers. The Steelers are always going to have a good defense. Ever since the 70s, the Steelers defense is what's carried them for most part of their year. So, I mean, he's in a tough division, and he's got a lot of stuff still to prove. He's been a 2-time MVP,
He's got to make a run.
He's got to be able to put it in the postseason.
Yeah.
He's got to push that team to the postseason. So
I agree.
I think he's got a lot of pressure this year.
Hey, NFL ranked him the 69th best player, which, me personally, I think that's a bit low. I would say probably somewhere in the 30s or 40s is probably where I'd say, which even probably there's going to be some people like, oh, Lamar Jackson's, top 10 player in the league. It's like, all right, no, we're basing this off every position. I mean, out of the ESPN list of top 10 quarterbacks, he was number 5. That sounds good to me.
And I think he is a top 5 quarterback, really.
Right now, right? Yeah, right now.
Yes.
But, I mean, there are a lot of up-and-comers. Right, I mean, obviously, huge Caleb Williams guy here, right? I don't need to say it anymore. But I mean, you got honestly, Trevor Lawrence, the second half of his season last year, awesome, right?
He's balling.
Herbert, you never know. I think Mike McDaniel's made Tua look good, so I think he could make Justin Herbert look good. But yeah, there's just a lot of guys that are kind of up and coming. He's, crossing the wrong end of 30, so I would agree with you. It is kind of it's a make or break season for him. My guy, speaking of Tua, it is Tua. It's hard because I've seen him do awesome stuff, and I think Atlanta has some great weapons. I think this could be obviously it's going to be a huge year for Bijan, right?
Oh yeah.
And I was
100%.
listening to a podcast, actually it was yesterday, and they were talking about, listen, Tua doesn't have a big arm. He's not really the best passer at this point that you want on your team. But his timing and like precision as far as like game managing running backs is kind of elite. Like the thing, like his handoffs and the fakes and his foot position and everything around it is huge for running backs, right? So Bijan, I think, is going to have a huge year because of that. Now, does that mean the Falcons are going to get wins? Probably not, but I think the offense can be good. Kyle Pitts, I think he can also have a big year.
Big contract too.
Yeah.
So they're going to use him.
Yeah, they're definitely going to use him. But, I mean, Tua has to prove, like, okay, I am a legit quarterback in this league. I mean, he's playing on a $10 contract right now, so he's very cheap. Yeah, it's really a make or break year on if he's legit or if he's just going to end up being, he's going to fade away into being, like we were talking about with Justin Fields, just a reliable backup that you could put on a contending team as just like an insurance policy.
Right.
Yeah, and at the end, we chose Bryce Young, Tua, and Lamar, and, they finished in a row last year. So Bryce Young finished quarterback 21, Lamar finished quarterback 23, and Tua finished quarterback 22. So, that's right in that sweet spot of make or break.
Yeah.
Right?
All right. Biggest position battle. Who wants to kick it off?
J.J. McCarthy and Kyler Murray.
I would agree.
That's, to me, is like, well, I have a few of them, but I think that might be one of the biggest ones. Kyler Murray coming in, McCarthy getting a little defensive. They might not be so hot to each other. They kind of have maybe a little bit of beef going on, but I think that's a good battle, and I think it'll be interesting to watch what happens.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of either one. I used to be kind of a Kyler guy. I feel like, I get it. It's Arizona. They've been good like 5 times in their what seems to be a million years of existence, right? But I feel like, he had Marvin Harrison, Trey McBride, a still pretty good James Conner, and Michael Wilson was popping off a little last year. So it's like you had the pieces around you. What's the excuse here? So
I think the excuse is a little Call of Duty and a little injury, right? Like dude can't get off. Can't get off.
Doing a bit too much pub stomping. I get it.
Renner, who do you got?
For biggest position battle, this one is one that I've been hearing getting cooked up a little the last few weeks. I'm going to go the running back position in Carolina. Listen, Chuba, 2 years ago, awesome season. Had him on my fantasy team. He was one of those guys that carried me to that championship. So I hold him near and dear to my heart. Last year, not great, no bueno. He got absolutely stomped out of that running back one position by Rico Dowdle for a good majority of the season. So, he has it in him to be a solid running back one, but let's not forget about Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah.
He was pretty awesome in Texas.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he has just been absolutely killed by injuries. So, especially considering the running back position, who knows what he's going to look like when he comes back. We're going to have to see in training camp how he actually looks. You're probably even going to have to wait a few weeks into the season to really get a vibe on him and see, like, okay, is he still legit or has he lost a step due to injuries? But it's not, I really don't see it being a clear cut, From everything that I've heard, it doesn't seem like it's like an absolute, Chuba's our number one and Brooks is our number 2. It's like, okay, we're going to see how things go. So, I mean, going back to F2MX, Jonathan Brooks could be some deep value. I don't know if I'd buy him going into week 1, just because, like I said, I want to see a few weeks of what the snap counts look like between the two. But
that's someone you definitely keep an eye on.
Oh, for sure.